Two questions, and thank you, Mr. Chairman. General Cavoli, in your military opinion, does the U.S. agreement with Denmark to facilitate access and basing needs in Greenland meet current military requirements?
Sir, I can only talk about the part of the military requirements that affect me. So our principal presence on Greenland, the United States personal presence on Greenland is the base at Pitafik in northwestern Greenland. That is not under my operational or administrative control. That's a Space Force base. And I don't know if it's adequate for them or not. From my perspective as both the Supreme Allied Commander and the U.S. European Command Commander, I have all the access and basing I need to prosecute the operations that we've talked about in the high north during this
So is that from your perspective, European Greenland, just to get the facts right, is within your area of operations?
Greenland is within my area of operations as the Supreme Allied Commander, and it is within my area of operations as the U.S. European Command Commander.
And you feel at this juncture we have all the capacity we need to confront the threats going forward?
Yeah, again, Senator, my part of that is what I can comment on. That's from the coast of Greenland eastward and northward to counter Russian threats coming out of there. I can't really speak for Northcom's interests or anything like that.
Thank you. If AFRICOM is dissolved and merged into EUCOM, you would have responsibility for more than 50 countries. Do you have the capacity, the expertise, the infrastructure to
I would have the responsibility for 50 more countries.
Yes, exactly right.
It would be a stretch, Senator. I mean, that's a wide span of control. I think that the organization, if it were aggregated, would possess the expertise and the capacity, because when AFRICOM was created in 2007, it was mainly created by cleaving it out of the EUCOM headquarters and establishing it separate, actually in some cases in the exact same buildings. So my assumption would be that a lot of that capacity would have to come back to EUCOM in order to be able adequately to handle the threats and the problems that General Langley's talked about today. It would have to be studied very, very closely, of course.
Thank you. I have one question for General Langley and just a comment. We've talked a lot about the German contributions, and it's increasing, thank goodness. But I think we miss some of the history here. For many, many decades, Germany was divided, so that it's not the same country now that it was in the 1960s, et cetera, in terms of its economic capacity. And the second point that strikes me is that for many, many years after World War II, there was a great reluctance upon Germany, and indeed most other countries in the world, to see them create a powerful military force. We had seen that before, after World War I. And so I think that has to be factored into their reluctance to spend on defense. But now I think it's a turnaround, and they're putting a great deal of resources, as they should. Final question. General Langley, have you had specific comments from any of your counterparts about the withdrawal of USAID from Africa? Have they commented to you like, why are you doing this? Or
Ranking Member, thanks for that question. I went to the Munich Security Conference about a month ago, or greater than a month ago, and after I got my direction from the Secretary of Defense, what my priorities were, especially counterterrorism and also to deter China and their military activities on the continent, it kind of refined my mission. Then I had to come up with my narrative to engage these countries, be very transparent and straight talk of that we're going through the pause and we're in a reflection period of assessing what has worked in the past and what's going to work in the future. And what's going in the future will be more targeted to what their needs needs are, but they also need to be able to build towards a sense of independent operations. I expressed this and talked to Cote d'Ivoire, their MOD, and even in Ghana, the new president-elect, President Mahama. They understood that and also carried on that narrative. They appreciated me being transparent. Carried on that narrative when I went to Morocco as well, when we delivered the helicopters, and they understand it. And so it's more of a burden-sharing type message, and also a regimented message of getting towards the host nation coming to the point of independent operations.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.